What's going on, everybody? Wood Talk Sports here, and we're back again with another mock draft. You could call it Mock Draft Monday. Today is Monday, and the NFL Combine just ended this last weekend. We had a lot of risers, a lot of fallers on my board, and on lots of people's boards. We saw a lot of crazy things. Xavier Worthy breaking the 40 record. Can't think of his name, the offensive lineman from South Dakota State. If we can find him on here, maybe. I think he might be an interior lineman, but breaking the vert record for a lineman, 38.5, Mason McCormick. You saw a lot of good things from a lot of players. You saw Brandon Fisk, who had a really good combine for defensive tackles. You saw Jalen Wright, who had a very impressive 40 time, and just in general, just a very impressive combine, and was able to kind of say, hey, maybe I should be looked at as a second round guy like Jonathan Brooks. But anyways, we're going to get right into it today with the first overall pick staying the same is going to be Caleb Williams. Didn't do anything at the combine. However, it's Caleb Williams. He really has nothing to prove. He should be the number 1 overall pick. Number 2, though, I'm going to switch it up again today. I'm pretty sure I switched it back to May 2nd, Daniel's 3rd. Today, I'm going to switch it back to Daniel's 2nd, May 3rd. I think Daniels has May has a lower ceiling than Daniels, but Daniels is more of a safer pick. I think the only problem and concern I have with Daniels is sometimes he doesn't hit the open man and he runs the football, but he's able to make plays with his legs. So it's not like he's just taking a sack like he's Kenny Pickett. He's athletic and he's making the plays. And I think Daniels has the higher ceiling. Drake May's potential, I think, is a lot higher than Daniels, but he's not someone that I would be more of a guaranteed good player off rip, which I think Jaden Daniels is a good player off rip. So I'm going to take Jaden Daniels at number 2 to the Commanders. And then this time I'm going to switch up my Justin Fields team. I've been giving him to the Patriots, or I'm going to be giving him to the Patriots today. Last time, I believe I gave him to the Atlanta Falcons, and that's why I had the Falcons trading down from 8 to 11, so J.J. McCarthy could be the number 8 pick to the Vikings. But this time, we're going to be doing the Bears trading him to the Patriots. Now, Bears could be asking for a second-round pick. Now, if you look at the Patriots' second-round pick, it's the 34th overall pick. It is a very, very valuable pick. And I don't know if it's worth giving up almost another first rounder for Justin Fields. We'll see what teams think about him. I will say maybe a second next year and a third this year. And that's what I'm going to do on here. Justin Fields is the Patriots QB now, and then that leaves them room to draft the best talent in the draft in Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, that's big for them because they just got their quarterback that they want, and then now they just got the wide receiver that they want. I mean, their leading receiver, I think, had 521 yards this year. I mean, not good. Not good at all. And it's a little disappointing if you're a Patriots fan to be watching that, and you're going to want something to change. I mean, Mike Evans, I'm pretty sure, just is closing in on a deal for 2 years, $52 million with Tampa. So you can't really get him in free agency. You get some other guys. But I think you got to solidify yourself, get Marvin Harrison Jr. I think you solve your quarterback problem in the offseason, and then you go and fix your wide receiver problem in the draft at number 3 overall. Now, they could trade it back. They could get Justin Fields, trade back, let another team trade up for Drake May. But I think with the Cardinals at 4, I think they'll do this move and make the Cardinals have to rethink their options. You go Malik Neighbors or you can go defense, which for this one, I'm going to throw a little curveball. I'm going to have a team trading up for that Cardinals pick. Now, I think the Cardinals would really do well with a wide receiver. like Marvin Harrison or Malik Neighbors. But the Cardinals are super big into Dallas Turner after that combine. And rumors are starting to spark up that they'd be willing to trade back if they don't have their number one option. And I believe number one is going to be Harrison for them. So we're going to have our first pick trade in the Arizona Cardinals trading down. Now, I think there's one team in my mind who trades up because the quarterback that they would have liked is gone. They have the chance of getting another quarterback, but the Giants are a team that's also competing for a quarterback. So I think that this team trades with the Cardinals to go get a quarterback. Their coach has said numerous times that they want a quarterback, and he probably wouldn't be there if they had a quarterback from last year. That team is the Atlanta Falcons. And I think the Falcons trade up to 4. And there'd be more than just that, but I think they trade up to 4 and they go get Drake May. Now, I think Atlanta does that because, as I said, Drake May might be the high ceiling, low floor type of player in this draft class. I think he's very polished, though. I think, yes, he's going to take time to fully have his potential untapped and become that a good quarterback in the NFL. I think what better situation to put him in than with the Atlanta Falcons, a team that just restarted everything. I mean, you've got Kyle Pitts, who one of the best tight ends we've seen in a long time. You've got Drake London, number one receiver off the board 2 years ago. You've got Bijan Robinson, who's already such a good running back in the NFL. I mean, you put him in such a great spot with a good O-line too, great O-line in Atlanta. You put him behind that O-line and whatnot. I think that helps out huge, for his potential and for him to become the best player. So I think Atlanta would be willing to jump the gun and go get their guy in Drake May. And maybe it's Jaden Daniels that's available at 4, and Atlanta jumps it. I just think Atlanta is one of the most highly candidate teams to jump up in this draft for a quarterback if they have to. Because, you got Minnesota, you've got Denver, you've got Vegas, you've got New Orleans because Derek Carr's old. You've got teams later in the first round, like the Rams or the Steelers, because Stafford's getting old and the Steelers don't know what they're doing at quarterback right now. So I think Atlanta is going to be willing to do that jump just because of how much I think is being looked at when it comes to the Giants taking a QB. It's looking more and more likely as we speak, and I mean it's something that you can't really rule out. We could see them possibly trade up for a QB, and I think drafting a QB is very much in play with one of the guys that is still available on the board. As much as people don't think he is a first-round talent, I think he's going to be off the board within the first 10 picks because there's so many teams that need a quarterback. So we're going to move on to 5. I could see Los Angeles trading back and going offensive line, and this time we're going to switch it up. I've been going Brock Bowers every mock draft, it seems like, except the first one. I'm going to go with offensive line for the Chargers, and this time I'm going to go Joe Alt. Joe Alt, measurements, his arms are kind of disproportionate, I would say, for his size. He's almost 6'9". He has 34-inch arms. Most people around that size, arms are probably going to be over 36 to 37. So, I mean, that's not too big of a problem. I still think Joe Alt's a great blocker, so he's my OT1 in the class. A lot of people's OT1 in the class. So, Joe Alt going to the Chargers to protect Herbert. I mean, yes, you have your problems in a lot of spots. I think you can address that anywhere. I mean, let's look. I'm just going to look on here to see their next pick, and I can't even see down there. Yeah, they've got a second round pick, and I think they could address that in the second round. I don't think Ladd McConkey would be the wide receiver they go with because I think McConkey will go first pick, second round. I think maybe Troy Franklin drops to the Chargers in the second. Keon Coleman, Roman Wilson. They get in the second. They could get a lot of guys in the second round, and Joe All, I think, is their pick. They've been looking like they're targeting an offensive tackle in the recent times. So we're going to go offensive tackle for the Chargers. Now, at number 6 to the New York Giants. As much as I want to pick Malik Neighbors, Giants for QB has really been speculating a lot. And, I mean, the thing about mock drafts is really kind of just experimenting with stuff and seeing what you think's going to happen. And I've been seeing a lot that it's very much in play for the Giants to go QB. And there's one QB that is still available on the board. Now, I think his worst opportunity in the NFL is going to be with the Giants because the Giants have the worst situation out of these 4 teams. Because you look at these other 3 teams that need quarterback right here. The Broncos, they've got a pretty decent team. They got a good squad, but I would say the Raiders, they're building a good squad. The Vikings just went 13-4 2 years ago. Obviously, no more running back because they just cut Alexander Madison, so they need to solve that. But J.J. McCarthy, as much as people don't want to admit it, is going to be a first-round pick. A lot of teams are high on him, and I think that when you look at J.J. McCarthy, he may not be that perfect prospect, but I think he's going to be a top 10 prospect, And I think the Giants, with Daniel Jones not being able to stay healthy, the situation they're in, ideally you would go somebody that he could throw to, like Malik Neighbors or an offensive lineman. But it's just the Giants, they've been saying it's the worst kept secret in the NFL. The Giants want to go quarterback. We're willing to trade up for a QB. If there's a QB available, they'll go QB. So in this mock draft, I will have the Giants going quarterback. And I'm going to have J.J. McCarthy, as high as it seems for me, he's going 6th overall, which they could address a lot of things within this first round. You could get Malik Neighbors, and you got to wait till the second round now to go get a guy. You could maybe pair him up with his old teammate Roman Wilson, You could get him some offensive linemen in the second round. You could go and get Kingsley from, still can't say his last name, from BYU. Kieran, I can't say his last name. He's still from Yale in the second round. If Jordan Morgan falls, you can get him. I think there's good second round tackles. The problem is the later round wide receivers, which I think you could get Roman Wilson for J.J. McCarthy, which adding those two together again, I think would be big for McCarthy as well. But we don't know how it pans out. And as I said, this is a mock draft. Who knows? A bunch of stuff can happen. So I'm going to have J.J. McCarthy going number 6 to the Giants. Now at number 7 to the Titans. Last time I had Malik Neighbors available and the Titans were picking, I had them going offensive line. I'm not doing it this time. Their wide receiver 1 is an old DeAndre Hopkins. Their wide receiver 2 is Traylon Burks. Give them Malik Neighbors. Give Will Levis Malik Neighbors. That's going to be huge for Will Levis and his development. And with Brian Callahan, the new head coach in town, giving him a number 1 weapon like Malik Neighbors to work with, and to work with his some younger parts of the team like Tyjae Spears, who's probably going to be the RB1 now. Just basically revamping the offense, giving them a young core, and giving Malik Neighbors to Will Levis. And Will Levis having that young wide receiver 1 is going to be big. And we'll see Malik Neighbors' teammate come off the board probably sometime soon in this mock draft. Fantastic combine. A little voice crack there. Fantastic combine. But number 8 overall to the Cardinals. We just traded back because we wanted defense. Well, we're going to get him. Dallas Turner from Alabama goes number 8, first defensive player off the board. It's kind of crazy to think about how much good offensive talent there is in this draft class. Dallas Turner just looked insane. I believe it was a 4.46 official, and as an edge rusher, that's absurd. I mean, he's 242 pounds. I think he weighed around there at the combine, and he ran a 4.46. He had a 40.5-inch vert. Like he's an athletic specimen, and he's going to be dangerous for a team. And a team like Arizona, who just traded back for draft capital, you could see them maybe trading up and getting themselves a wide receiver in the first round with pick 27. But we'll get to there later. Dallas Turner is going to be a stud for him, especially behind a defensive-led head coach like Jonathan Gannon. This team, Arizona, is a team that I'm excited to see develop throughout the next couple years because I really like Kyler Murray. I think he is their quarterback of the future. Number 9, we've got the Chicago Bears. Now, they just got themselves Caleb Williams. I think it's pretty evident what they will do if he's still available. Rome Odunze to the Bears at number 9 overall. Rome Odunze is going to be a Chicago Bear, in my opinion. I think if everything in their cards fall right, if one team trades up, Odunze's guaranteed to fall to 9. The only way he doesn't is if I think Dallas Turner's available at 9. I think that the Bears go and get Dallas Turner at 9 overall, but he's not available in mine because he went 8 to the Cardinals. And now Odunze is matched up with Caleb Williams, just like in most of my mock drafts. So that is number 9 to the Bears. Now, number 10, last pick in the top 10 to the Jets. We've got many options to go here. We could go the route that I went originally with Brock Bowers. We could go Olu Fashanu. We could go Talise Fuaga. And we're going to go Talise Fuaga. We're going to go Fuaga. The Jets, it's just coming up more and more that the Jets really like Fuaga. They really like the way he plays. And so, I mean, there's no other reason than to just draft him for him. I mean, he's going to be available. He's going to be there. And he's the guy that they're looking for. So I think Fuaga goes to the Jets at 10. He's a phenomenal blocker. Now, at number 11 to the Vikings. What's been picking up for the Vikings is that they are willing, and they're looking at Byron Murphy. They're looking at Byron Murphy to possibly draft at 11 if they think that's their best option. They could trade up for QB. I think they're one of the teams that could trade up. I think the 3 teams most likely to trade up will be Atlanta, Minnesota, and Las Vegas. And there's no more quarterbacks I think is worthy of taking this early in the draft. So I think that the Minnesota Vikings go with their guy that they've been looking at, which is Byron Murphy, at number 11. I think that helps their defensive line, who could be losing some players this offseason. You could go edge rusher with like Jared Verse because they could lose Danielle Hunter. But I think Byron Murphy is going to be their pick. They've been saying it too, that this is their guy that they like. So I'm going to go Byron Murphy to Minnesota. Now at number 12 to the Broncos. I've been going different routes here. Brock Bowers to the Denver Broncos. Nate Wiggins to the Denver Broncos. Just ran a 4.28 official. Got a little hurt there. Tweaked his hip flexor, I think it was. Quinyon Mitchell, Terrion Arnold. I think Broncos go corner or Brock Bowers here. I don't think Bowers goes at 12. And yes, Bowers is dropping down my board. I just don't think Bowers is going to be the home run pick that everybody thinks he is and be a guaranteed top 10. I mean, there's teams that could use him, like the Chargers or maybe, I wouldn't say the Bears, actually. The Jets, the Broncos could probably use him. They've got a couple of tight ends on the squad. I just think defense is going to be a big thing for him. So I'm going to go Nate Wiggins after running that 4.28. I think that's just going to be eye-popping for the Broncos, which, I mean, isn't something you should only, kind of like correlate to where they should be drafted is their 40 time. But I think the athleticism he just showed is going to help him get up higher in the draft. Something like Dallas Turner did. His athleticism is going to help him be a top 10 pick. He's also just a stud, which leaves at number 13 Terrion Arnold for the Raiders. And I'm going to do that because I still think the Raiders, if he's there, that's going to be their number one guy. is going to be Terrion Arnold. And all my Raiders fans who watched 4.0 and saw me give Terrion Arnold to the Broncos, don't worry, I got y'all this time. Terrion Arnold is not going to Denver. He's going to Vegas. And Raiders get their CB1 for the future. And now at 14 with the Saints, I've been going J.C. Latham a ton. But there's a guy still on the board. That's Olu Fashanu. And I'm going to go Olu Fashanu at pick 14 for the Saints. Just solving that tackle spot for them is so crucial, especially with their cap problems that they've had for years. They can't go out really and sign good players in free agency all the time. So it's like, why go and worry about that? Get a guy in the draft. You get money put to the side, basically. So it's like the rookie reserve. 4 draft picks. Olu Fashanu. Go solve your tackle spot with Trevor Penning, Ryan Ramczyk. Just can't stay. Always hurt. Penning just not good. Solve your problems at tackle with Fashanu. And the Saints draft a tackle. Now at pick 15, a team that I could see taking Brock Bowers, the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, they've got a decent amount of tight ends, and they're okay. I think Brock Bowers is huge for them. I think their biggest need is going to be the DB position, which there's still 2 DBs on here that are great. I also think they could go Jared Verse. It says it's not one of their needs. I think Jared Verse still could go right here. If he doesn't, I think he'll go within the next couple picks. But for this video and for this mock draft, we're going to have the Colts going with Brock Bowers. And, Michael Pittman Jr. is their biggest necessity this offseason to retain him. Maybe they go out and get Jarius Sneed. I know he could go anywhere at this point, it seems like. But you get yourself a solidified tight end, not 2, okay tight ends like Granson and Mo Alley Cox. It's just they're not big names. Sorry, something just happened. Brock Bowers is that big name tight end, and he'll be that franchise tight end for you. He is going to be an absolute monster of a player for you on both sides of offense. Passing the ball, he'll be, he's a great route runner, great catch, great after the catch. You have Jonathan Taylor in the backfield, and he's an absolute athlete. I mean, he's fantastic to watch. You give him a good blocking tight end, too, because I think Brock Bowers is a pretty good blocking tight end. As much as people don't think so, I think he is. You give him that, and I think that's a match made in heaven for the Colts. So, Brock Bowers to Indianapolis at 15. If he dropped a little bit later, I think his perfect fit would be in Cincinnati, but I don't know if he gets to 18. That's a dream scenario. But 16 to the Seahawks, I'm not even going to think about it. It's Jared Verse. Jared Verse should easily be the second edge rusher off the board. Dallas Turner is going to be number 1 off the board when it comes to edge rushers, and then Jared Verse is going to be the second edge rusher. He is just fantastic. He had a great combine, and he's solidifying the reason why he's going to be a top half first-round pick. Most people think he'll be a top 15 pick. I just think a lot of these teams need bigger things, maybe to the Broncos, or, as I said, maybe the Colts. I just think those teams need more of a different spot. So Jared Verse is going to drop at 16 to the Seahawks. Still first-round talent, great player. Jacksonville, now at 17. They've been talking about getting a physically good corner, and Quinyon Mitchell is the corner I look at. When you look at physicality, Quinyon's 6 foot, around 200, and I think Cooper DeJean's not their answer. McKinstry's not the guy to go at this high of a pick. So I'm going to go with Quinyon Mitchell. I've done it a lot in these mock drafts, giving Mitchell to the Jaguars. I'm going to stick with it because that's what they need. They need a DB that's going to be physical and get active just get active in the with the receivers and really just kind of punish receivers. and not let them do too much on the line. And I think Quinyon, with just his skill set, he's more of a really good coverage guy too. But I think he's a good fit for Jacksonville. So we're gonna go with him to the Jags. Number 18 now for the Bengals. J.C. Latham, Amarius Mims, Fautanu, I think are guys you could go with. Tyler Guyton. Those are players I think are all going to be guaranteed first-round picks. And after his combine, I'm going to pick Amarius Mims before J.C. Latham. I mean, they're both absolute giants measurement-wise. But I think Mims had a fantastic. I mean, you look at what he did in the combine. He had a fantastic combine. And I think that's what jumps him over J.C. Latham is Mims really showed a lot and kind of like was eye-popping to a lot of people. So I think Mims goes at 18 to the Bengals. Now at 19 to the Rams, you could go a lot of different directions here. You could go Cooper DeJean, you could go J.C. Latham, you could go Latu, Jackson Powers Johnson. I mean, they need offensive line, defensive line, DB. I think they go offensive line. Jackson Powers Johnson is very, very possible. J.C. Latham's very possible. I think it's between these two. And if I'm going to have to decide, I think Jackson Powers Johnson's a great fit for the team after them. But I think the biggest thing is going to be they're not going to care. And Jackson Powers Johnson, in my opinion, is going to be a starting center for the next 10-plus years for the LA Rams, for the Steelers, whoever drafts him. So I'm going to go Jackson Powers Johnson at 19 to the Rams, and they get their starting center for many, many years to come. And what that does for the Steelers is going to make them go tackle in J.C. Latham. I think those two picks will go hand in hand, and honestly, the 21st pick as well will go in hand with them. Except you could see Miami. I've been seeing mock drafts of Miami going Xavier Worthy after his combine performance. Not something I'm expecting to see happen, but Miami I still think goes O-line. I think they still go with the guy available, Troy Fautanu. So Fautanu to the Dolphins to be able to be expendable, go to guard if you need him to go to guard because of their offensive line. They're losing all interior O-linemen, I think, is pretty much a free agent. Fautanu to the Dolphins. And now at 22 to the Eagles, I had them trading back last time with Arizona. Or, no, I did not. I had them trading out of the first round for the Raiders. And one of my mock-ups for this mock-up, I had them trading back. That was before the combine, however. And it says the Lions are interested with this pick. I don't think that's going to be a thing. I'm going to have the Cardinals now trading up for that 22nd pick. I'm not going to go into all the details of this pick, I think, because it's later first round. I think they're going to want to steal something from the Texans, and that stealing that is going to be a wide receiver, and that wide receiver is going to be Brian Thomas Jr. Because, remember, I gave them Dallas Turner at pick number 8. So I think they go and get their wide receiver at pick 22. I mean, I've been giving Brian Thomas Jr. to the Texans all the time. All the time. Come on. You've been watching my mock drafts. He's always going there, and I think it's time that, another team tries to get it. And now since Cardinals don't have Dallas Turner, don't have Marvin Harrison Jr., they went Dallas Turner. With the draft capital they get from Atlanta, they go wide receiver later and go and get their guy in Brian Thomas Jr. at pick 22, trading with the Eagles. Now they'd get more the Eagles would get draft capital. I know I just did first for first, but more obviously would happen. Which that would leave the Texans with some deciding to do. Because they could go wide receiver. They could go Adonai Mitchell. They could go Keon Coleman, Lad McConkey, Xavier Worthy. I don't think Worthy fits the scheme the best. especially now that especially with Tank Dell, who's also a pretty undersized wide receiver. So I don't think they go wide receiver. I think they're gonna fix their defensive line, and that's a big issue for them. So I think Jerzon Newton is very possible to go here, and or Laiatu Latu, put him on the other side of Will Anderson. And when you look at some of the edges, you could go Chop Robinson as well. I mean, I look at edge rusher, and I say I don't think that's their number one priority. I think Jerzon Newton's a perfect fit for them with their defensive needs. I think that when you watched them last season, some of their needs showed interior-wise on the defensive line. So I think the Texans do that to fix their defense a little bit. I don't think they need that wide receiver 3 yet out of the guys available. So we're going to go Jerzon Newton at 23. Now at 24 to the Cowboys, I've been thinking multiple things. I've been thinking Graham Barton because, he's a guy who we know can move to the center spot, which is a spot that the Cowboys could use. You could also go wide receiver because you've got really only CeeDee Lamb. Brandon Cooks, I guess. He's older. I don't know if he's a free agent or not. Something that's been catching my eyes after his combine, Peyton Wilson maybe going for late first round to the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe going and getting a corner, Kool-Aid McKinstry. I don't think they go corner, McKinstry or DeJean. For this mock draft, I'm going to go Graham Barton. I think Graham Barton needs to be in Dallas. Dallas, the offensive line, just being able to rebuild it and being known as the big thing that Dallas is always known for is going to be something huge for them, and they're going to get their guy now, Graham Barton, that is, who could basically go anywhere for them, and that'll be big for them, especially with Tyron Smith. I think still I think a free agent this offseason. Tyler Smith, the guy they drafted 2 years ago. Just building up that offensive line again and making sure Dak is always protected is going to be big because that's your guy of the future. I did not mean to do that. 25 at 25, the Green Bay Packers. We're going to stick with Cooper DeJean, and I think it still stays with, you could go put him at the boundary corner if you need him to play safety. He can change to safety. He can play nickel. He can play in the slot. He can play anywhere. Pair him with Jair Alexander, and you've got yourself a good match. Boom, Cooper DeJean to the Packers. Enough said. 26 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I really want to switch it up. I don't want to be basic like always and say the same thing over and over, but that's where I think he really falls is Laiatu Latu. Going to the Buccaneers at 26, I think it's great value for him. So we're going to have Latu going to Tampa. Obviously, I wouldn't go wide receiver anymore because of the news that Mike Evans has agreed to terms for a 2-year deal. So that means that's out of the equation, and it's now focus on your defense, in my opinion. It says running back's in need, but Rachaad White's a stud, so I wouldn't listen to that. Now at 27, the Eagles, they could go different ways. They could go DB. There's McKinstry still on the board. They could go wide receiver because they have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. They could get their third guy. I could go multiple ways, as I said. I think defense is their bigger priority. Kool-Aid McKinstry from Alabama is really the only guy I see going as a corner in the first round. Maybe Ennis Rakestraw, but I think McKinstry goes late first round. Pick 27 to the Eagles. And that is going to be it for DBs. 28 to the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills need wide receiver. There's a wide receiver on the board that I think will go there, and I put him there last time, is Adonai Mitchell. He tested well at the Combine, 4.35 I think it was, 4.34, something around there, which is great for how big of a receiver he is. I mean, that big of a receiver with that much speed is dangerous. I think Mitchell is going to be good for them. I mean, especially if they get rid of Diggs. So, Adonai Mitchell to the Buffalo Bills at 28. Now at 30 to the Baltimore Ravens, I could go a lot of ways here. Um, you could go wide receiver. You could go defensive line because I really do like. Or sorry, I'm on the Lions. I jumped the Lions. Poor Lions. Um, that's because I think this one's a little easy. After how good of a combine he had, I think 4.48 official. Chop Robinson made himself money at the combine with how fast he ran, and um, 20 edge rusher put him opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson. Maybe move that James Houston the fourth to more of a B gap guy, because he's dominant. So Chop Robinson, boom, to the Lions. Now, I could actually see them trading with a team that wants to trade up a little bit just to make sure that Baltimore doesn't get this guy. And maybe they trade with Baltimore. I mean, who knows? And for the sake of it, I know NFL fans won't like me for this, and Chiefs fans will. I'm gonna have that actually happen. I'm gonna have the Chiefs trade up for the Baltimore Ravens 30th overall pick, and there's gonna be some other stuff detailed in that. And Kansas City's going right now, and you know why? Is because they want to jump Kansas. They want to jump Baltimore and go get that absolute speed demon and Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy going to Kansas City with Mahomes would be absolutely deadly. I mean, with his speed, that's a scary matchup for corners, scary matchup for defenses. If he can put a little bit of weight on him and keep his speed up, that is going to be one of the better connections in the league. Xavier Worthy to the Chiefs is going to be dangerous. So I'm going to have that happen in this mock draft. Now at 31st to the Niners, they're going to go offensive line. Tyler Guyton's still on the board. I think he's a solidified first rounder. And Tyler Guyton goes at 31. It's kind of a low drop off from where he was usually getting drafted. I think I had him 18 to the Bengals last mock draft. I just think a lot of guys really performed well, and there's a lot of different things happening in my mock draft today. So that's going to happen there. And at 32, the Baltimore Ravens wrapping it up for us. Could go different ways. D-line, as I said. Maybe get Darius Robinson from Mizzou, and maybe go wide receiver. I don't know if Franklin is still the first round guy that he is being portrayed as in this big board. Ladd McConkey might be the first round guy. I think Ladd McConkey's the first guy off the board though for the Panthers. I think the Panthers get Ladd McConkey. I think we go look at the D-line, and I think that the last pick in the first round will be Darius Robinson. Could be Chris Braswell as well. But Darius Robinson, I think for the size that he is, he's a stud, and he's athletic enough. I think he's 292, and he wraps up our first round going to Baltimore because Xavier Worthy wasn't there because obviously they traded the pick. There's my first round mock drafts. Obviously, lots of changes this time. Good amount of trades with Arizona and Philly, Arizona and Atlanta being my only two big trades, and then obviously Kansas City and Baltimore. But there's my mock draft 5.0. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Subscribing's free, and it helps me out. My goal is to hopefully maybe reach 100 subscribers before the end of March, end of April, one of those two milestones. And we're getting there. I mean, we're at, I believe, 71 or 72. If you enjoyed it, as I said, leave a like, subscribe, and I enjoy doing this stuff for y'all, and hope you guys enjoy listening to me and listen to me kind of speak on football, as it's something I love doing. So appreciate y'all for listening, tuning in, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out.